Hello and welcome. Take a deep breath, relax your mind, and get ready to listen. This is your English listening practice. Speak slowly in your mind and try to understand every word. Let's begin. Today, I want to share a story about an important day in my life, a day when I had a job interview. I woke up early that morning, much earlier than usual. I didn't need an alarm. My mind was already awake. I felt nervous. My heart was beating fast. I kept thinking about the interview. What will they ask? Will I answer correctly? Will I get the job? Too many questions and no answers. I sat on my bed for a moment. I took a deep breath. I told myself, "Stay calm. You can do this." Then I stood up. I started my day. I went to the bathroom. I washed my face. The cold water helped me feel fresh. After that, I looked at my clothes. I had already chosen them the night before. A clean shirt, simple pants, and formal shoes. I wanted to look neat and professional. First impressions are important. I got ready slowly. I checked everything carefully. Clothes, shoes, hair, everything had to be right. Then I went to the kitchen. I didn't feel very hungry, but I knew I had to eat something. So I had a light breakfast, just some toast and tea. While eating, I was still thinking about the interview, about my answers, about my future. After breakfast, I checked my bag. Resume, documents, everything was there. I looked at the time. It was almost time to leave. Before leaving, I stood quietly for a moment. I took a deep breath again, and I said, "Let's go." I left my home. The road felt different that day. Everything looked normal, but I felt different. My mind was focused. My heart was still a little nervous. On the way, I tried to stay calm. I looked outside. I saw people going to work, just like any other day. But for me, it was not a normal day. It was important. After some time, I reached the building. It was big, clean, and a little intimidating. I stood outside for a moment. I looked at the entrance. I took a deep breath, and then I walked in. Inside, everything was quiet, professional. I went to the reception. I told them my name. They asked me to wait. So I sat down. Waiting was the hardest part. Time felt slow, very slow. I could hear my heartbeat. I looked around. Other people were also waiting. Some looked confident. Some looked nervous, like me. I tried to stay calm. I remembered my preparation. I told myself, "You are ready." Then my name was called. That moment, my heart beat faster. I stood up. I walked towards the interview room, step by step. I opened the door, and I walked in. There were two people sitting inside. They smiled. That made me feel a little better. They asked me to sit down. The interview started. At first, I felt nervous. My voice was not very strong, but slowly I became more comfortable. They asked simple questions about me, about my experience, about my skills. I listened carefully. I answered slowly. I tried to be clear. Sometimes I paused. Sometimes I thought before speaking. And that was okay. I didn't rush. I stayed calm. As time passed, I felt more confident. I started to speak better. I started to feel more relaxed. The interview was not as scary as I thought. After some time, it was over. They smiled again. They thanked me. I thanked them too. And then I walked out. When I left the room, I felt something different. Relief. A big relief. I took a deep breath. My body felt light. I didn't know the result. I didn't know if I would get the job. But I knew one thing. I did my best, and that was enough. I walked out of the building. The air felt fresh. The same world was there, but I felt stronger. Sometimes we are afraid of big moments. We feel nervous. We feel unsure. But when we face them, we grow. That day, I learned something important. Courage is not about being fearless. It is about moving forward, even when you are afraid. Now, take a deep breath. You did a great job listening. If you didn't understand everything, that is okay. Listen again. Practice every day, and your English will improve. Thank you for listening. See you in the next practice.